Hey guys, Dimitri here with the Roofing Insights, and today I decided to make very special episodes for all the roofers, all the construction guys out there. The thing is, most construction guys who's in the trades, they have a major problem with the lower back. I know a lot of guys who work for me, and recently we've been talking about it, who constantly, almost on a weekly basis or monthly basis, see their chiropractors, do adjustments because they don't work out well. And I see it as a big problem because when I talk to these guys, I have a lot of guys who are siding installers, gutter installers, and we discuss it after hours and things like that. And so often, guys just don't know if there's a solution. So here's my story. I'm not a personal trainer by any means. I don't consider myself to be knowledgeable enough to teach anybody. This is just what helped me, what changed my life in so many ways. Up to 3 years ago, I was seeing chiropractor every week. I've been preparing my chiropractor for a yearly subscription, pretty much to save money because I was going so often. I would pay like $1,000 for an entire year. I started flooring company 8-9 years ago, and boxes were heavy. I remember laying on the ground a few times on the job sites because my lower back was pinching my nerves. It was constantly jamming from lifting up weights, not stretching, not doing exercises, never have a time to gym. So construction is tough. You work 10-12 hours a day, you constantly lift them up weights, and then when you jam, it affects your work, it affects your personal life. And I remember it's not a good feeling. Unfortunately, I still have a lot of friends who has that problem. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm here in the gym, and I'm gonna just demonstrate what a lot of people don't realize we're dealing with. This is good grade shingle bundle. My company right now does roof installs, so this is one of the roofing materials or construction materials. Not many people realize how heavy it is. It's weight 70 pounds. So, and here we have kettlebell. So this kettlebell says 70 pounds. It's actually, they cheated. It's 68 pounds. No wonder I'm so weak, because I'm thinking I'm working out with 70 pounds. It's only 68. So let's see. So it's 68 pounds. The challenge is, if I ask you to work with this kettlebell for 10-15 minutes, you're probably going to say, this is too heavy, you're not supposed to be doing it. But yet, I've seen so many times when guys come to the job site and their boss just yell at them, hey guys, I need this pallet around the corner. So they go in, start lifting it up, and before you know, next morning, if you do this, you start hurting your back. I've been there many times. So what I've done is, I came to my doctor and I said, Doc, listen, is there anything medicine can offer me? Because my body hurts on a regular basis. No matter what I do, I've never been in sports, I've never been, never worked on my body professionally. So I asked my doctor if he can recommend me anything so I don't have to go to chiropractor. So he referred me to neck and back clinic. I went to neck and back clinic, and I found out that they don't recommend adjustments, never adjust anybody. And they signed me up for a 3-month program. It was 3.5 years ago. I sat down, pretty much it's a rehab program. They measure all your body, they measure my back, they put you in a chair, and you pretty much work out with your back, and they show you all the charts, where you're supposed to be, where you're at right now, and they show you exercises for 3 months. After that, I started Googling, researching, based on those exercises, what really works. So I invested, I bought like 7-8 kettlebells. I have them at the warehouse right now. My workers working on them. And we bought some equipment, and I can tell you, I have 3-4 guys on my team who comes to work and just spend 10-15 minutes a day, and they don't have lower back problems anymore. So, but because I'm not professional, I'm not going to teach you or show you. I'm going to introduce you to my personal coach now, CrossFit owner Jeff, and he's going to show us what he would do with the weights like this and his recommendation for lifting construction materials on the job sites. Hey guys, so we're here with Jeff. Jeff, thank you so much for taking time to make this video. And Jeff is owner of CrossFit and here in Maple Grove, Minnesota. So Jeff, like we spoke before earlier, you know my problem. I have a lot of employees, and you know that most construction guys out there do have lower back problems. The reason I wanted to ask your opinion, because you would do the weights all the time. If you would be a roofer, Just can you imagine yourself being a roofer?
Yeah.
And if I would ask you to move 60 of these babies and put them on the roof or around the house, like in the gym, every time you work out, I know you do warm up and all of that stuff, but I'm your boss and I just yell at you, hey man, get off your car, go do this. Is there any exercise, anything you would recommend, you know, that would prevent me to be at a chiropractor tomorrow?
Well, a couple of things. When you start lifting heavy weight like this and you're going to do it for multiple repetitions, really you got to have a proper warm-up because your muscles are more than likely tight. You probably drove in a truck over to the site, so you've been sitting for a little while. The first thing I would recommend doing is probably just first, when you're picking those up first, you need to focus on where is your spine and what position is it in. So when I come down, I want my back to be flat the whole time. A lot of times when people tend to pick things up, they keep either their legs straight and they'll round their back, or they'll bend their knees, but they just have no body awareness with their midsection. And all these are what really protects your low back. And so the pain that you're probably getting from that is because you're not keeping your core muscles tight. And so when you pick it up, you know, first we're going to a warm up, you need to just do a couple of toe touches where you're focusing on keeping your chest up, and you're just gonna try to touch your toes. Now, if you can't get all the way there, that's completely fine. But really you're just trying to teach your body the proper position when you're about to start lifting. It's also gonna loosen you up so that you are ready to lift the weight and you just kind of know where you're supposed to be at.
Perfect. If you would do, let's say, can you show us maybe like what you would never do with this? Just because of the size, like I tell people all the time, this is easy. I mean, 70 pounds is a lot of weight. If I would have to work with this, I would start with a 35, right? But it's pretty obvious, it's easy to grab. This is big. So let's say I have a truck, and in the truck I see a lot of guys, that's the band. Like, what would you do and what would you never do? Like, how would you lift up, and what are the key points of your body to pay attention on, not to hurt yourself?
Okay. So first I'll just show you how I would pick it up, and then I'll tell you the ways not to pick it up and then why. So essentially I would stand directly over the weight. I'll move this out of the way so you can see. I want to get towards the middle of the shingle pile because it's an odd object. It's a rectangle, it's separated. I don't want to go on either one side. I want to kind of sit right in the middle because that's where the weight will be distributed equally. And then from there, I'm going to kind of squeeze my stomach about 20 to 40%, not like you're trying to flex for some girl or something, but you know, just right here, and I'm going to bend my knees down to where I can get my body on it while I'm keeping a flat back position. Okay, and then from there, I'll just get my hands underneath, and then once I have my hands underneath, I'm going to use my legs to lift and not my back. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to kind of extend up and then come onto my shoulder. All right, from there, that would be the proper way of doing it, okay? I would never pick this up from this position because you're separating everything. You're a lot more likely to round. I also wouldn't stand way behind it, okay? The further the weight, okay, this is a pack of shingles. That's what I'm gonna refer to as the weight. The further it is in front of me, the more it's gonna encourage me to wanna round my back, which is ultimately what should be causing your low back problem. So if you can get directly over it, that's going to help you efficiently use your legs and keep your back in a protected position, all right? The other thing is when I come up, I want to kind of extend my hip almost like I'm jumping so that I can get some acceleration, and I'm not sitting here using my arm muscles to get it up there because your legs are so much stronger than your arms, and when you lift with your arms, you will tend to start to move this stuff. So main points there is you're going to get over the shingles right in the middle. You're going to focus on keeping all this nice and tight. You don't need to clench really hard, just so that you're aware of where your midsection is. And then you're going to use your legs to help you get it up there and not use your arms. Okay, that kind of, is that?
What if, just little comment there, usually you don't see it, like you don't have a chance to stand over.
Yep.
Can you show what do you do from the side? Because that's how you usually attempt it.
So I mean, if it was a little higher up, I would more than likely kind of slide it over, drop down, keeping this tight, and then shift it onto my back from there. Once the pack gets a little bit lower, I'm gonna kind of address it, get my hands under one side first, and then I'm just always gonna be aware of my position. Now, when I do that, it's a little awkward. So the best way I can say is the further the shingles get away from you, the more it's gonna be pushing down on your low back. So you just wanna try to get it as close to your body as possible, and then just being aware of your midsection throughout. Does that kind of address it a little better?
It's most common, that's how we usually come and grab. I just see guys, the thing about, the reason I'm asking this question, I know thousands of workers out there, most of us never been trained. Like your boss is not gonna show you this stuff. It's like, well, go unload this. It's like in my family, my dad has chronic lower back problem. I have, and he doesn't know how to lift weight. He's 56-year-old. He never showed it to me. I mean, when you're not in sports, when you don't get it, you don't get it. And if you've been doing construction for 10, 20 years, you keep destroying your body, nobody ever showed it to you, you keep going to adjustments. So this, for me, that's what breaks the cycles. I understand it. Somebody showed it to you, now it makes sense. Now next time you're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
So great advice. Let's talk about what would you do, like let's say you're a roofer every day, 10, 12 hours, that's what you do, right? You know tomorrow morning you're gonna face it again. And usually we don't leave them too much. What's happening right now in the industry, and for quite a time, suppliers usually get it to the rooftop delivery, so we're not always carrying this stuff. So
okay.
Usually, but every once in a while you're gonna go to the store, pick up 3, 4, 5, and I think that's where the problem is, because you think it's just 5 bundles. But you're freaking cold, and you're gonna bend, and sometimes it's one bundle. When you grabbed it wrong, when you didn't look for your body, that's where you stretch and things like that. So great tips. But if you deal with it every day, what kind of exercise would you do at home, like prior, or like 10 minutes a day? Let's say you don't have time, you have a family, you have a full-time job. I don't blame guys for not working out. It's hard. Life already there, and to get 2 hours at the gym is hard. Not everybody can do it. What kind of exercise would you do like in the house to prepare?
So, I mean, if you're in your house, a couple of things, as I've already addressed, it's your midsection we're trying to strengthen. Now, ultimately, to get this up to your shoulder, you do also need to take and consider your leg strength. So first, I would really just say it's just gonna help your back problems in general if you start focusing on your core. So there's a couple ways you can do that. And a lot of people think strengthening the core is sit-ups. And to be honest, I don't think that's the best way, especially for this application, because it's only working mostly the front. And the core is also your back muscles. So when I refer to core, I mean your stomach, your back, and everything in that area. So what I would do is I would do a plank, and you are going to essentially get your hands about shoulder width apart, and then get into a basically push-up position, as most people would know it. But you want to keep your butt up a little bit higher and almost keep these muscles kind of flexed down like this. You don't want your butt sagging kind of like this, and you don't want it like this either. All that's going to do, and what you would do there is you could do like a 30-second hold with a 30-second rest, or you could do a max hold. But at the end of the day, what you're doing there is you're strengthening your core as a whole, rather than just focusing on one muscle group within it, okay? The kettlebell, as you said, and you were directed to kind of by the people helping you with your back, is another awesome way, because what the kettlebell does for you, you can do a couple of things with it, and everyone can kind of go to the store and buy one of these or go to Amazon, but if you haven't done it before, start with a lighter weight, but you can start by just doing a deadlift. And that is the most correlated movement, I think, to you picking up these shingles, is the body awareness of coming down and grabbing something off the floor. So I would basically set up where I keep my back flat, chest up. I'm going to grab that kettlebell, and I'm just going to stand. And then I'm going to come right back down and touch, and that's all I'm going to do. And every single time, I just want to make sure I'm opening my hips all the way and thinking about squeezing my butt. The reason we think about squeezing the butt is it allows us to use the proper leg muscles, and most of the time when people pick things up off the ground, things like this, is they instantly go to this rounded position. Well, right when you do that, you now need to re-flatten out your back, meaning you're using all these low back muscles to pull when you're not supposed to be. Ultimately, these are big movers. They can do the work. The other thing is with the kettlebell, you can do kettlebell swings. So as you guys already saw, when I picked it up, I kind of swung it and I kept it close to my body. Ultimately, what I was doing there is extending my hip. And the kettlebell is an awesome thing. It's called the kettlebell swing. You're gonna set up just like you had that deadlift, and then I'm gonna push that kettlebell back and I'm gonna throw my hip forward, okay? Now, every single time that kettlebell comes down on me, I'm making sure I'm keeping my back flat, and then I'm thinking about squeezing my butt to throw it up. And how that's gonna correlate into this is when you go to extend and get it up, it's gonna teach you those muscles that you need to use to get up there. Those are probably the two biggest things, using the kettlebell to work on your leg strength, which will help your core ultimately, and then the swing to help teach you to get it up, and then just the plank, which is just gonna help your core overall.
Absolutely. And I have to testify, I've been doing this for a while now. I mean, I feel much stronger than when I was, 7, 8 years ago. For me, weight is nothing. Like stuff like this, I do it like playfully. There's tons of videos on YouTube. There's a lot of different, and once you start doing it, there's routines. It truly makes your body so much stronger. Like what Jeff showed us, most guys think it's yoga when you do plank. Like it's not a real exercise. I mean, guys, it's real. And it's saving me thousands of dollars now just because, the chiropractor visits and stuff, you don't think about it. Yeah. I'd rather pay my membership gym in a CrossFit right now and be here 4 or 5 times a week and, feel great about it than, roll into the chiropractor and like begging to make you feel better. But what if you go and you work and you do something, let's say you feel sore, because I know I've done it many times when I was tempting to get back to the chiropractor and think, do you have like a recommendation if I do feel sore, if I've worked a lot and I'm tight everywhere, what kind of exercise would you recommend to help after the fact?
Okay, so usually when you get strained, I think the best stretch that I can think of, we want to really open your hips. Most of the time when people walk around on a day-to-day basis and have low back pain, it's generally because their pelvis, their hips are kind of tilted forward a little bit, almost like you're like this. And then that causes you to almost overextend a bit, which puts a lot of shear on your low back. So what I would say is, if you're having that low back pain and that, I would want to loosen up the front side of your body. A lot of people would think, oh, well, if my low back hurts, I'm just going to roll it out. I'm just going to start getting a massage on it. Well, usually when something hurts, it's usually being caused by something else. It's not usually a direct correlation. So by opening up this front section, what I'm about to show you, it's going to allow you to stand up straighter, and it's going to relieve your low back, and it's not going to need to tighten up so much. So I'm going to come down here. Now, I'll just give you guys a precursor. This is not a comfortable stretch to sit in. And the first thing is, we like to sit in it for 2 minutes, and here's the reason why. Whenever you're doing any kind of stretching kind of to rehabilitate, and if you have a chronic low back pain, it takes multiple times and a decent amount of time in the position to actually make a long-term change. You could do this for 30 or 40 seconds, and it might help at that second, but you're not actually going to stop having low back pain. If you do this for 2 minutes, it creates, more of a change within your muscles that it's going to allow your pelvis to sit in the proper position more and more each day. So if you stay consistent with it, I almost guarantee if you did it every single day for about 2 to 3 weeks, 2 minutes on each leg, you probably wouldn't have as much low back pain, like almost at all. This is also the number one stretch that I would say to get rid of low back pain within 4 minutes. Okay, so here's how it works. You're going to point your toe towards the ceiling, and I'm going to get my knee on the wall. I'm going to slide it all the way down. Okay, so that's the first part. Then I'm going to take this leg, I'm going to bring it up and put it down flat. So this is the position I'm going to. Now, when I started this and I first did this, I'm more sitting down here like this, kind of agonizing, You know, essentially, you're going to get a big pull from about your hip to your knee. Nothing's hurting you right there. You're stretching it, okay? That is what you're supposed to feel. It's not a comfortable feeling, but the more and more you do it, it gets much more comfortable, and really you're making some pretty good change within your hips. And then the goal is now I'm capable of actually sitting up, and I'm flexible enough to sit in this position. Now, in the beginning, if that is too much and you like can't even keep your chest down, do nothing like that, well, then we just bring our knee a little bit off the wall. But what I will say is that if you feel extremely comfortable while you're in this position and you could sit in it for, 5 to 10 minutes, then you're probably not doing it at a intensity that's going to make any long-term change in your hips, and you're not going to get rid of that low back pain. So getting your knee all the way to the wall is pretty important. It's not comfortable, but unfortunately, when you're trying to fix something, that's as severe as chronic low back pain or an injury like that, it's not always going to be the most comfortable thing. So does that help?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's great content. I hope it helps somebody. If you're the boss, you have employees, show them something like this. I mean, I have 20, 30 people working for me. I literally show them around and I say, guys, here's how you're supposed to do it. If you hurt, do this exercise. Not everybody gonna do it, but still I think it helps. And I have friends who do still go to chiropractor every week. I'm trying to get to them like, hey, there's a better way. And this is the better way, guys. And I'm living testimony of it. I mean, I saved $3,000, $4,000 last 3 years on chiropractors. That's my gym memberships and all of that stuff. Hope it helped, guys. I'll see you next Tuesday on the roofing tips. Thank you.